Reading multiple choice single answer guided practice. Let's begin the session. Here's question number 1. You can pause and then come back and resume after you have answered. The correct answer is option number 4. The producer should do some experimentation by offering differentiated products and observing buyer behavior. The steps: first read the question. What shall a producer do to ascertain if the low price product will eat into the demand of the higher price product? So we can tell the text is going to be about the pricing of products, and especially of a low price product and of a higher price product by the same producer. And then to determine, so ascertain is to verify, to make sure that if the low price product will eat into the demand, will reduce the demand for the higher priced product. Now let's look at the text. Let's skim it. Price and product differentiation permits to acquire goods come in variety of sizes. They have different degrees of the willingness. You can also benefit. So-called bottom of pyramid. We're sometimes asked about low-end product, higher-end product. The key, this can of course occur if products are not perceived as differentiated. The key activity for the producer is to conduct experiments by offering differentiated products and watching economic buying behavior unfold, etc., etc. All right, so the text, it tells about product differentiation, pricing, how the benefits of product and price differentiation, and then also what the producers should do if they want to make sure the low-end product will cannibalize. Will cannibalize means will eat into the demand for the higher price products. So you see, that is why it's important to read the whole sentences, because you'll not find the word eat into. Yeah. You'll have to judge from the text, from the sentence. You'll be able to make a guess that this sentence, if you already know what cannibalize means, then that's fine. But if you don't know, then by reading the sentence, you can tell that this is about low-end product, reducing the demand or eating into the demand for the high-priced products. And then we need to, now that we understand where the relevant information is, we can scan and validate the options. The first option, the product should restrict the sale of low-priced product only to those at the bottom of the pyramid. Now this, somewhere it talks about bottom of pyramid, but it does not say that the sales should be restricted. That bottom of pyramid should only get low price products, or low price products should not be bought by those who have more money and are more affluent. So this option's not correct. Second, the producer should alternately sell the high price and low price product in the market, never offering both at the same time. Now, again, it's not mentioned that both should not be offered at the same time. We'll check again. It's not mentioned that the producer should not offer both. Third, the producer should add more features to the high price product to appeal to the affluent customers. Okay. So high price products, feature. Here it talks about features, but what it says is if the products are not perceived as being adequately differentiated with high-end features and additional functionality. But it does not mean that by doing that, he will be able to figure out if a low price product will reduce the demand. This is something it can happen. And that's why the text, it recommends that a higher price product should actually have good features. But again, it's not a method to make sure. The producer should do some experimentation. Here we have a mention of experiments. The key activity for the producer is to conduct experiments by offering differentiated products and watching economic buying behavior unfold. So this validates that doing this, the producer can figure out if the demand of the higher price product will be reduced due to the lower price product. So that is your correct option. Now, some of these texts will be simple enough. Some of them can be a bit challenging. I think this is something what I would call a medium to advanced level text. And if you do some practice daily, let's say you're 30 days before the exam and you spend some time every day reading academic, business, articles, news, then you will get into the habit of reading texts like this. And in the exam, you'll be able to go through and comprehend them, to understand them quickly. So make it a habit. Set your schedule such that for the 30 days or the 60 days, whatever time you have before the exam, some of that you spend every day reading these good quality articles from business, science, economics, politics, social sciences, the kind of topics basically that will come in the exam. Let's go to the next question now. The answer here is 3. The state flag is a more complex version of the national flag. Now, as I was just saying, this looked like a shorter and a simpler text now. The question is, what is true about the flags in Scandinavian countries? So that means the options that have been given to us, there are different statements about the flags found in Scandinavian countries, and we have to verify which of these statements is true. Now, this is a small text. So when you have a small text like that, you can quickly skim it, and then, because it takes you much lesser time to read the text, so you can even start matching, start scanning at the same time, right? So skip for something that is so simple. If you find it, then yeah, there's still benefit in skimming, but you don't have to be as thorough as you would do if it was a larger text, because understanding a larger text and the structure is much more important when you are looking for specific information later on. But if the text is already so small, then it's fine. You can quickly jump to the step where you are scanning for specific information and checking the options. Now, the first option, the state flag, is the same as the national flag. So the first statement is a variant of a national flag. So the first statement itself tells that it's variant, so it's not the same. So this statement is not true. The national flag has a swallowtail to differentiate from a state flag. Swallowtail. So it says Scandinavian countries also use swallowtail state flags to further differentiate them from civil flags. So they differentiate from civil flags, but it's not state flag differentiated from a national flag. It's a state flag differentiated from civil flags. The next, the state flag is a more complex version of the national flag. Is this true? So let's see where they mention state flag and the national flag. Yeah, it says complex is also mentioned. The state flag is a more complex version of the national flag. So in fact, pretty much you find the same statement mentioned as it is. And yeah, in your exam also you will come across some questions where it is much simple. So now you can just, because the option is so clear, it's right there. So you can simply select it and go ahead. Okay, usually I say that you validate all the options, but sometimes you get simple questions, and then it makes sense that you save whatever time you have so you can use it on more difficult or complicated questions later on. Let's go to the next question. The answer is, they have not been mentioned in the passage. So, what do common people think about branded entertainment? What do common people think about branded entertainment? That means the text is going to be about branded entertainment and maybe opinions of different famous people, common people, etc. And we have to focus on the opinions of common people. Like, what do common people think about branded entertainment? Right, so quickly, let's skim. Ad supported content, trend towards Inti with program content, product placement refers to insertion, many types of products place. For example, now that it's evolving into a new form of promotion, we call branded entertainment, for example. So as you see, there's nothing. Actually, as I was skimming, I didn't find any part of the paragraph where they are talking about the opinions of anyone about branded entertainment. They first talk about entertainment and the role of ads in the entertainment and content. And then they say that there's a new form of promotion, which is called branded entertainment, and give an example of that. But there's no mention of that. And that is why option 3 is the correct option. But of course, you will start with option 1. They realize that the trend is continuing to accelerate. Now, we call branded advertisers, 6-minute story. This practice has become so commonplace and profitable now. Yeah, but it nowhere talks about it's going to continue to accelerate, to continue to become more and more popular. They do not have a clear opinion indicated in the passage. In fact, no opinion, they have not even been mentioned in the passage. And that's why we go to the third option. All right. So sometimes you might come across questions like this where, the information that you have to find there's no reference to it. And then the option basically is something which just says that there's no reference to that in the passage, or it has not been indicated in the text. So don't be confused by this. Some of you might think when you're not able to find it, you'll make some kind of a guess. But it's very much possible that it's not been mentioned at all and it's correct, and that's a correct option. Let's go to the next question. The correct option is the Sultanate of Vadai. The question was, which was the most recent non-colonial ruler in the Chadian Basin. So the text is going to be about the basin and its rulers, and what we have to find, the most recent non-colonial. So non-colonial means like the British, they ruled countries like India, made it a colony, so they were colonial rulers. So non-colonial rulers means somebody from that place itself, and they have given different empires, different rulers. So we have to find which is the most recent non-colonial ruler. Now quickly skim the text. So it starts by talking about Chadian Basin, crossroad of civilizations, the earliest civilization who conquered Egypt after a century of rule. The South fell to the Canaan Empire, empires that developed in Chad's Sahelian strip. Two other states in the region, Sultanate of Baghirmi and Vadai Empire emerged in the 16th and 17th century. And then go further, read about it. French colonial expansion led to the creation of this very difficult word in 1900. By 1920, French had secured full control of the colony. So French, they were a colonial ruler, so we can rule out that option. Then the other options, two other states, Sultanate of Baghirmi and Vadai Empire in the 16th and 17th. So the 17th empire, that means 17th century, corresponds to the Vadai Sultanate. And that's why it is the most recent. If you just look at the time period, and that's why they have put the questions like this. They're asking you most recent because they want you to be able to show that you understand how to compare between the time periods. Somebody will think 1920 is most recent it came. Okay. And they'll say the French Empire. But it's not just most recent. You also have to understand what colonial and non-colonial means. So France is the most recent, but it's colonial. So that's why not the option. The sultanates of Baghirmi and Vadai in the 16th and 17th. So 17th is most recent compared to 16th. And they say they emerged in the region. So that means they are from that place itself and are non-colonial. So that's why the correct option, the last option. So the biggest takeaway, what do we learn? What shall we remember from this question? But pay attention to all paths. So most recent is important and also non-colonial. We have to check that the option is correct on both these parameters.